We'll get started with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिके कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं कृष्णचैतन्यमीश्वरम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, welcome everyone back to our Bhakti Vaibhav program. Many of you must have been to Sadhu Sangha fully rejuvenated and you're all back. So very happy to be back in all of your association after that nice retreat that has just happened. So we will continue from chapter 5 onwards. And chapter 5, we stopped, I think, in the last section of chapter 5. So let me open up that. The last section of chapter 5 was how Narada teaches his personal mantra. And this is from verse number 37. So I'll share screen and then we can get started. Here we go. Okay. So how did we get here? So here is a quick summary of what has happened so far. Um, Verses 1 to 7, Narada inquires and Vyasadeva responds. So basically, Narad Muni, he glorifies Vyasa's works and inquires about his despondency. And Vyasadeva, he admits his dissatisfaction. And Narada is able to diagnose the issue. He finds two defects in Vyasadev's works. One is that there is insufficient glorification of the Lord, and the second is that there is overemphasis of the four Purusha Arthas. And then Narada Muni, he reveals to Vyasadeva that there are two categories of literatures. One is the materialistic and the other is the transcendental. And transcendental people, they relish the transcendental literature. And in those transcendental literature, bhakti is emphasized. So he recommends Vyasadeva that he should glorify the Lord more vividly and give importance to bhakti. So to teach by practical example, he begins to talk about his own life story and his experience with the Bhakti Vedantas, the great associates of the Lord from whom he had practical experience about the importance of devotee association and bhakti. So he said he had an opportunity in his past birth when he was born as the son of the maidservant to serve the Bhakti Vedantas, and he went through the 14 stages of devotion. Actually, only 12 are mentioned. The remaining two are supposed to be mentioned eventually, okay, in the next chapter. And then, since he was a very nice, well-behaved boy, and he got their remnants just once, these Bhakti Vedantas, they imparted the most confidential knowledge And we saw about the most confidential knowledge in our previous class. And then Narada Muni told that whatever activities you're doing, generally, if you dovetail it in the service of the Lord, then eventually all our activities can become spiritualized. So the process of bhakti is not at all difficult. So that is what he has told so far. Now, in the last section, what is going to happen is Narada is going to teach his personal mantra to Vyasadeva. So actually, we see that this is the personal mantra that Narada Muni had received, and he is going to teach this personal mantra directly to Vyasadeva. Okay, so this was the mantra that he had learned, and here is the mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Vasudevaya Dhimahi Pradyumna Aniruddhaya Namah Shankarsanaya Cha. So he teaches this mantra to Vyasadeva. And if you observe the mantra, you see that the mantra is directed towards Bhagavan. Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam. Who is that Bhagavan? That Bhagavan is Vasudeva, who is the son of Vasudeva. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Vasudevaya Dhimahi. And he also invokes the expansions of Vasudeva, who are Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Sankarshana. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Vasudevaya Dhimahi Pradyumna Aniruddhaya Namah Sankarshanaya Cha. So, this is the mantra that was imparted unto Vyasadeva. And this was the personal mantra that Narada Muni had been reciting and meditating on. Now, in the commentary, if you see, there is a clarification that is being made. The minute you see Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Shankarsana, you all know that these four are up the Chaturvyuha. You've heard of the term Chaturvyuha? I hope everybody has heard this term Chaturvyuha. So these four Vyuha forms of the Lord are present in the spiritual world. But then there are two sets of Chaturvyuhas who are present. Okay, there are two sets. One is in Krishna Loka, and the other is in Vaikuntha. In Goloka Vrindavan, there is the original Chaturvyuha, the first Chaturvyuha, and then there is Maha Chaturvyuha, Mahashankarsana, Mahapradyumna, like that. So they are present in the Vaikuntha realm. So now Chakravarti Pad, he mentions that this mantra specifically relates to the Chaturvyuha who is in Goloka Vrindavan. That Chaturvyuha is whom we are talking about. So this mantra relates to that Vasudeva. And if we are calling Vasudeva as the son of Vasudeva, then obviously Pradyumna and Aniruddha are none other than the son and the grandson of Sri Krishna, and Shankarsana is none other than Balaram. Okay, so that is the personal mantra that is being imparted unto Vyasadeva. Now, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions, according to the Pancharatras, Narayana is the cause of all expansions of Godhead. So, if you see in the spiritual world, whether you look at Vaikuntha Dham or you look at Goloka Dham, there you will find these four deities, Vasudeva, Shankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. So, how are they situated? So, for better understanding, I can actually share the Goloka chart directly with you so that you know what to expect, how they look. Here is the Goloka chart. If you see this Goloka chart, 1 second. Hmm. Yeah. You can see the Chaturvyuha expansions here. You see on top there is Aniruddha, here there is Vasudeva. So you start counting from here. So if you go in a circle, Vasudeva, and then you have Shankarsana, you have Pradyumna, and then you have Aniruddha. So like that in a circle. And this positions is also mentioned in the purport. So if you see the purport says that Pradyumna is on the right of Sankarsana and Aniruddha is on the left of Vasudeva. So that's exactly how they are situated in the spiritual world. Now, if you go to the Vaikuntha realm also, you will find these four forms. You can see here, I can zoom it a little more in for you. Here you have Vasudeva. You can see Vasudeva here. So this Chaturvyuha is present in the Vaikuntha realm as well as in Krishna Loka or Goloka. So here you have Vasudeva, Shankarsana, Pradyumna and Aniruddha and their respective consorts. So you have Vasudeva's consort Lakshmi, Shankarsana's consort Saraswati, Pradyumna's consort Rati and Aniruddha's consort Kanti. So this is the first Vyuha form around the central wall of the lotus where Lakshmi Narayan are situated in Vaikuntha. Whereas in Goloka Vrindavan, you have in the central wall Radha Krishna situated, and then you have all the Manjaris and all the eternal associates who are in the various rasas. And then you have the same Chaturvyuha form Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. So their exact formation and their presence is also mentioned in the purport. So let me go back to screen sharing of our verse so that it's easy for you all. And we'll continue reading our commentary by Srila Prabhupada. Okay, so Prabhupada also mentions that these four deities are situated in the spiritual realm, and they are known as the four aside decamp of Sri Krishna. Prabhupada also mentions that it is specifically in the Goloka Dham around Sri Krishna. That is the mantra that was given. And he also talks a little bit about Vedic mantras. He says that generally, what mantra we all chant, we generally chant the Nama, that is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is Nam. Okay, it doesn't have the details that a typical mantra should have. So therefore, when you chant Maha Mantra, which is the combination of Nam, there are no hard and fast rules and regulations. But whereas for those who have received Gayatri, you will know that the Gayatri will have one bija. Bija is the root. For example, Prabhupada mentions this is a Vedic hymn or a mantra beginning with an Omkara or Pranava. And thus the mantra is established by the transcendental chanting process, namely Om Namo Dhimahi. So it is a Bija mantra. And Bija mantras are generally received properly through a guru and they are not openly chanted. But at this point in time, of course, Narada Muni has given it to Vyasadeva, and indirectly we are also getting the mantra openly. Generally, even Upanishads don't give the mantras openly. But we are fortunate enough that in the Puranas, sometimes some mantras are given openly. Like in the Bhagavatam, you will see many Bija mantras being told openly. Even if they are told openly, ideally Bija mantra should be received only through the medium of a guru. Otherwise, the potency of the mantra may not be there properly. Okay, it might not function properly. That is the idea. So Prabhupada is telling us this is a Vedic mantra. That has a bija, which is the Omkara right here in this particular mantra, because it becomes with Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So it has Om, Namaha, and Dhimahi. These are all typical indications that it is a bija mantra or a Vedic mantra. So Prabhupada says that Narada Muni explained unalloyed devotional service. He did not teach any fruitive kind of work that already Vyasadeva had been emphasizing all this while. He was only worried about transcendental realization of the Supreme Lord. So he thought anything else that emphasizes anything besides the transcendental realization of the Supreme Lord is pretty much useless. So Narada Muni, he explains devotional service by his personal experience. This was his personal experience. He had the opportunity to chant this mantra, and he also had progression in his devotional service of the Lord. So he went through various stages and he came to the point of prema. So this is what Narada Muni actually gives directly to Vyasadeva. Now Prabhupada says there is a question that is raised by great rishis headed by Shaunaka regarding the confidential part of Suta's achievement through the spiritual master herein by chanting this hymn consisting of 33 letters. And this mantra is addressed to 4 deities of the Lord with its plenary expansions. So basically, this mantra that is explained here to Shaunakadi Rishi is consisting of 33 syllables. So every mantra, you all know there are many bija mantras. Each of these mantras, depending on the aksharas, they are referred like that. Like for example, the Dwadasha Gopala mantra, like that. They don't pronounce the mantra per se. They'll just tell Dwadash Gopal mantra. When they say that, people will know which mantra is being spoken about. So here is the indication of this particular mantra. This mantra is 32 syllable and 33 syllable, and it is addressing the deities who are personal expansions of Lord Vasudeva or Sri Krishna. And Sri Krishna is the central figure of this mantra, and the remaining personalities are standing around Sri Krishna, who are Shankarsana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. Okay, and all these deities are all Vishnu Tattvas or Shakti Tattvas generally. So this is the details about this particular mantra. So this mantra was being taught to Vyasadeva. And Vyasadeva is now going to meditate on this mantra, and he's going to see the Lord face to face, just like Narada. Yes, Bimal Prabhu?
Mataji, Hare Krishna Mataji. One quick question I have is, can you explain something about Chaturviha Mataji, and why we have two Chaturvihas, one in Goloka and one in Vaikuntha? Why separate when they are same? Means if I say Sankarsana there also, Sankarsana here also.
Yeah, there is Adi and then there is Maha. Adi Chaturvyuha and Maha Chaturvyuha. That's how the expansions issue forth. Why? I don't know. So basically, there is Krishna, and then Krishna's, when he wants to expand, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he's the source of everything, he's the root of all the incarnations. So when he wants to take various forms, from him, several forms issue forth. So the first vyuha that issues forth from Sri Krishna, besides his intimate associates and all that, his expansions are Vasudeva, Shankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. And from this Sankarshana, who's here, actually, he expands into Narayana here. And this Narayana further expands into the second Chaturvyuha, or also called as the Maha Chaturvyuha, which is Vasudeva, Shankarsana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. And this particular Shankarsana is called as Maha Sankarshana. So from this Maha Sankarshana, he further expands into Mahavishnu. Okay. So this Mahavishnu, of course, he glances over material nature, and the halo of his glance is called as Shambhu, and Shambhu touches Maya. And then you have individual universes, and this Mahavishnu further expands into Garbhodakashayi Vishnu and Shirodakashayi Vishnu. And then we see the Shirodakashayi Vishnu also becomes the Paramatma, and then so many other incarnations, they come through the medium of Shirodakashayi Vishnu from the spiritual world, they descend into this material world. So these are the expansions for the sake of creation, Prabhu, basically. So when the Lord desires to create, he has various forms that carry out different tasks. So he expands in all directions, and then the Sankarshana, who's the first Sankarshana here, he is very potent, and he expands into the Narayana form within Vaikuntha. So like that, there is a description of how these different forms of Krishna are expanding, just like how when you have many candles and you want to light them, there is one original candle and you take light from that original candle, many candles are lit, right? So they're all lit so that so many different forms can be there to carry out various functions. That's all. I hope that was okay.
So Mataji, this
Yes. Mm.
expansions will have what, 95% or 91%, right Mataji? Power.
They will have, what is it? Like they will have almost 98, is that the percentage? I forget. But 60 qualities they will have. Four qualities is there extra in Krishna. Narayana forms generally they have 60 qualities, correct?
Okay.
Yeah, they have 60 qualities, which is what percent? I don't know, 90 something. Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
91. Yeah. Yes, bro.
Thank you, Mataji.
So,
Very good.
yeah. Yeah. And of course, when you go through, I mean, this is very interesting. This Goloka chart itself is a full seminar by itself. How each of these forms are present further in different circles. If you see different, first circle is the Chaturvyuha, then you have the second circle. You see even the Dashavataras in the third circle and so on. And each of them have separate functions. So, yeah. But we should understand the idea is that everybody is present in the spiritual world. Even Padma Puran also actually confirms this, that sometimes people think that the incarnations who come to the world are just temporary, they just manifest in the material world and they vanish. But in the spiritual world, there is only Narayan or there is only Krishna. So, this kind of thoughts people may have, but then the Puranas clarify that all of these forms are eternal. And only because they are eternal, we see them in the material world. So, nothing is like something that, you know, that is coming out of the figment of someone's imagination. So that should be something that is understood from these charts that are shown, like the Goloka chart. So this was the mantra that was taught. Now the next verse is kind of interesting. It says, Iti murti abhidhanena mantramurtim mamurtikam yajate yajna purusham sa samyak darshana puman. So iti murti abhidhena mantramurtim amurtikam. Amurtikam means without form. Huh? But he says this murti, this representation of sound that we just heard is mantra murti. It is a form of the Lord that is created from sound vibration. For the Lord who is amurtikam. That means for the Lord who doesn't have a material form. So the Lord, yes, he can take form in a deity. He can also take form in a mantra. He's not, even when he comes to this world as incarnations, his body is not made out of Panchabhuta. It is aprakrita sharira, right? It is beyond the elements of this material nature. That's why Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvata. That means his birth and our birth is not the same. Our body and his body is definitely not the same. He's always transcendental. So, iti murti abhidhanena mantra murtim mamurtikam. So, this personality who doesn't have a material form can take the form of a mantra. So, he comes, we all know, Nama Rupa Guna Leela, we say, right? So, when we chant the Mahamantra again, as I mentioned, it is a combination of Nam. Now, this Nam is very potent, very, very potent. We have all heard this over and over that Krishna's name form qualities are non-different from him. So as you keep chanting the Nam, the Rupa manifests. Now, this is an intense exercise. If you go to Japa workshops, you'll be told to hear the Nam very, very carefully and concentrate nicely. And eventually, ideally, for those who are doing it very nicely, for those who are really focused on Nam, Rupa manifests. Okay, of course, for people like me who are useless, it's different. But some people who are very serious in japa, for them, it is natural. They start developing so much taste that even murti, the form of the Lord associated with the nam, gets manifest. Okay, so nama rupa guna leela. From roop we have guna and then we have leela. So like that, these great. Even you all know the story of Srila Rupa Goswami, how he was chanting the Mahamantra and he got into trance. He was able to reach up to the point of Leela and he was seeing Radha Krishna Leela. And for some reason, it was something very funny between Krishna and Radha. And he laughed. And there was a lame person who was walking by and he got offended, thinking that Rup Goswami is laughing at him. And then later, Sanatan Goswami had to come and resolve the issue. So it is, we see such stories of our great acharyas, how from time to time when they're chanting the Mahamantra, they are able to transition from Nam to Roop, from Roop to Guna, and then to Leela. Even our own Maharajas, our own uh, Guru Maharajas for that matter, we know how Shachinandan Maharaj conducts such workshops. It's very interesting actually, and it's very potent as well. So basically, the Lord can take mantra murti, meaning he can take the form based on the mantra that we are chanting. That means we should understand the mantra and the Lord are non-different. Now, if this mantra, if Vyasadeva is going to chant this particular mantra, he should be able to see the Lord face to face. That is the understanding. Huh? As we chant the mantra, we get to see the Lord face to face. Of course, if it is done nicely and purely, not like what is happening with me, but otherwise, that is the intention. Okay, so the translation is, thus, he is the actual seer who worships in the form transcendental, in the form of transcendental sound representation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, who has no material form. So when we say Amurtikam, that means it's not that he doesn't have a form at all. He doesn't have a material form. That is the understanding. Now, there are so many meanings for Murti. Prabhupada, actually, in this purport itself, he says, according to the Amarakosha Sanskrit dictionary, the word Murti carries the import in twofold meanings, namely the form and difficulty. Hmm? A form is Murti. Another meaning for Murti is difficulty. So when this mantra is chanted, then without any difficulty, you can understand the Supreme Lord's form. Hmm? Basically, you can see the Lord without any difficulty. You can experience the Lord without any difficulty. Another interpretation of Murti is very hard. But he is amurtikam. That means the Lord is very soft. And he's very soft. He's very soft towards his devotee. So the devotee can realize him very easily when he's chanted, when he's perceived through chanting of mantras. So Prabhupada also says that our present senses, they are made of material elements. So we are made of Panchabhautika Sharira. We have this Tanma, what is that? Jnanendriyas and Karmendriyas, which are all blunt senses. So with our blunt senses, we cannot understand Vishnu. It is very difficult, but then there is this very beautiful method of chanting. So Krishna is present in the sound representation, and as we chant, we can awaken our spiritual senses and experience this personality who's beyond the scope of material understanding, who's in the transcendental realm. Krishna is known as Adhokshaja, meaning he is beyond the perception of the senses, right? So with our blind senses, you cannot perceive Krishna, but then by chanting the holy names, our senses can be spiritualized to a point where we can even experience Krishna who's beyond this material realm. So Krishna is Satchid Ananda, but actually when you chant, you can really experience the transcendental personality who is Satchid Ananda, though our senses are imperfect. Okay. Prabhupada also says a person transmitting sound from a far distant place can be factually experienced. If this is materially possible, then why not spiritually? So the sound vibrations is very potent. Even it is said that one of the senses that leaves the body the last is the hearing sense, because even when a person is in deep sleep, what can awaken a person is through sound, not through anything else. That's why we keep alarm clock, right? Nothing else can actually wake us up. That is the sense that leaves the body the last. And that is the sense that can bring the body back into consciousness also. So the sound is very, very powerful. And by the sound vibration, it will reach even the spiritual realm and one can understand Krishna. So basically, we can understand Krishna without any difficulty. Yes, Prabhuji, do you want to add?
Mataji, I read somewhere from the purport, Prabhupada Maharaj is mentioning about this sabdat nivrutti. By help of the sound, you get out of this pravruti marg and enter into the nivrutti marg. That's why I read
Wow.
somewhere. I don't know, but that's
Very
what my
good, very
understanding was.
nice.
Yeah, that was it. And another thing about the previous slok, Mataji, Prabhupada Maharaj writes in the first paragraph that Vasudev and Sankarsan are on the middle, left and right, and Pradyumna is on the right of Sankarsan, and Anirudh is on the left of Vasudev. So, in speaking this mantra, which I do every morning, and I imagine that, Pradyumna is on when they are facing, the four deities are facing us. Uh, Pradyumna is on the far left, and the far right is Aniruddha. In between is Sankarsan and Vasudev, like that. So I formed a kind of
Three-dimensional.
acronym PSVA, like that. That's how kind of I remember that Pradyumna, then comes the Sankarsan, then Vasudev and Aniruddha. They are facing these four deities are facing us when we are bowed down like that. So that was my
Very good.
understanding. Yeah, that's what I thought maybe helped.
Thank you,
Mata.
Prabhu, for clarifying that. I mean, it adds so much weightage to understanding these statements, especially the first half of the statement. Yeah. Vasudev and Shankarsana on the middle, left and right. So, thank you so much. Yes, Narahari Prabhu, would you like to say something?
Mataji, with your permission, I just wanted to add one more particular
Mhm.
point. In the Brahma Samhita, in the 5th verse of the Brahma Samhita, the functions of the Chaturvyuha are explained specifically in Goloka, where it describes, how they are in the quadrangular, the 6 hexagon position, and how they are. Maybe if it's okay, you could just read since you're sharing the screen or something. It's the 5th verse of the Brahma Samhita. It's very nicely describes, what they do. And
Actually, somehow Veda-based took out Brahma Samhita. Oh, it's there. It was not
it's
there
there,
for some
Mataji.
days. Yeah, it
Yeah.
came out. Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, let's read this. The surrounding external plane of Gokul is described in this verse. There is a mysterious quadrangular place named Shweta Dweep surrounding the outskirts of Gokul. Shweta Dweep is divided into 4 parts on all sides. The abode Vasudeva, Shankarsana, Pradyumna, Aniruddha are separately located in each of these 4 parts. The 4 divided abodes are enveloped by threefold human requirements such as piety, wealth, passion, and liberation, and also the 4 Vedas, Rik, Sama, Yajur, Atharva, which deal with the mantra and which are the basis of achievements of the fourfold mundane requirements. 10 tridents are fixed in 10 directions, including the zenith and nadir. The 8 directions are decorated with 8 jewels, Mahapadma, Padma, Shankha, Makara, Kachapa, Mukunda, Kunda, and Neela. There are 10 protectors, Dikpalakas of the 10 directions in the form of mantra. The associates of the hues blue, yellow, red, and white are the extraordinary potencies bearing the names Vimala, etc. shine on all sides. Purport. Primarily, Gokul is the seat of transcendental love and devotion. Hence, Yamuna, Sri Govardhana, Sri Radha Kund, etc. of the terrestrial Brajmandal lie within Gokul. Again, all the majesties of Vaikuntha are manifested and are extending in all directions. The pastimes of the 4 propagating manifestations are all there in their proper places. The Paramvyoma Vaikuntha has got its extension from the display of the 4 propagating manifestations. Salvation as of Vaikuntha and piety, wealth, and passion pertaining to worldly people are the proper places of Goloka as they are original seed, which is the primary cause. The Vedas are also engaged in singing the song of the land of Gokul. There are 10 tridents in 10 directions to prevent and disappoint those who are the aspirants for having entrance into Gokula through meditations without the grace of Krishna. Self-conceited people who try to reach this region through the paths of yoga and jnana are baffled in their attempts by being pierced in the 10 directions. Self-annihilation has its excellence in Brahmadhama, which represents the outside covering of Goloka in the shape of tridents. Shula means trident. The mundane threefold attributes and the threefold divisions of time represent the trident. Ashtanga yogis, that is ascetics, who practice the eightfold yoga, are the non-differentiative liberationists who, trying to approach in the direction of Goloka, fall headlong into the pits of disappointment by being pierced and cut asunder by these tridents placed in 10 directions. Those who proceed towards the direction of Goloka through the channel of devotion, alloyed with majestic ideas, are fascinated by the charms of Vaikuntha, which is the outer covering of the plain of Sri Goloka, at the site of the 8 perfections, which are Anima, Laghima, and so on, and the majesties like Mahapadma and so on. Those who are less forward in their intelligence relapse into the sevenfold world, falling under the control of the 10 protectors of the 10 directions in the guise of mantra. In this wise, Goloka has become unknowable and inaccessible. It is only the divine selves of Godhead, the propounders of the divine dispensations for the different ages, who are always forward there to favor the approaching devotees who seek entry into the realm of Goloka through the channel of pure devotional love. The divine forms of Godhead are surrounded with the attendants of their respective natures. Shvetadweep in Goloka is their place of abode. Hence, Srila Thakur Vrindavana, the manifest Vyas of Chaitanya Leela, has described the village of Navadvip as bearing the name Shvetadweep. In the Shvetadweep, the concluding portions of the pastimes of Gokul exist eternally as the pastimes of Navadvip. Hence, the region of Navadvip, Vraja, and the realm of Goloka are one and the same indivisible entity. The difference only lies in the manifestations of the infinite variety of sentiments corresponding to the diverse nature of their devotional love. There is in this most hidden principle, which only the greatest souls who are possessed of the highest transcendental love are enabled to realize, the direct grace of Krishna. The truth is as follows. In this mundane world, there are 14 spheres disposed in the graded order of high and low. Persons living with wives and children, hankering for the pleasure-giving effect of their fruitive works, move up and down within the limits of the 3 worlds of Bhu, Bhuvar, and Swa. Brahmacharis of great austerities, ascetics, and persons addicted to hypothetical truth, persons of a neutral disposition, adopting non-fruitive works by an aptitude which seeks to be free from mundane desires, move up and down within the limits of the 3 worlds, Mahajana, Tapa, and Satya. Above these worlds lies the abode of the 4-headed Brahma, above which lies the unlimited realm of Vaikuntha, Vishnu, Kshirodakashayi, lying in the ocean of milk. Paramahamsa sannyasis and demons killed by Sri Hari, by crossing the Viraja, that is passing beyond the 14 worlds, enter into that luminous realm of Brahman and attain to nirvana in the form of temporary abeyance of the temporal ego. But the devotee actuated by knowledge, Jnana Bhakta, the devotee actuated by pure devotional aptitude, Shuddha Bhakta, and the devotee imbued with loving devotion, Prema Bhakta, the devotee actuated by pure love, Prema Parabhakta, and the devotee impelled by overwhelming love, Prema Tura Bhakta, who serve the majesty of Godhead, have their locations in Vaikuntha and the transcendental realm of Sri Narayana. The devotees who are imbued with all love and who walk the footsteps of the spiritual maids of Vraja alone attain the realm of Gokul. Goloka. The different locations of the devotees in Goloka, according to the respective differences in their nature of rasa, mellow quality, are settled in inconceivable power of Krishna. The pure devotees following the devotees of Raja and those following the pure devotees of Navadvip are located in the realm of Krishna and Gaura respectively. The identical devotees of Raja and Navadvipa simultaneously attain the pleasures of service in the realm of Krishna and Gaura. Srila Jiva Goswami writes in his work Gopala Champu that the supreme transcendental realm is called Goloka, being the abode of Go, transcendental cows, and Gopa, transcendental cowherds. This is the seat of the rasa pastimes of the absolute Sri Krishna. Again, the realm is called Shweta Dvipa, owing to the realization of some of the rasas which are inconceivable manifestation derived from the untouched purity of that supreme realm. The twofold threefold entities of the Supreme Goloka and the Supreme Shetadipa are indivisibly the realm of Goloka. The gist of the whole matter is this. Goloka as Shvetadvip is eternally manifest because of the pleasures of enjoyment of the rasa that could not be had in its entirety in the pastimes of Krishna in Vraja. He accepts the emotion and effulgence of his predominated moiety, Sri Radhika, and makes an eternal pastime for the enjoyment of Krishna Rasa there. Sri Krishna Chandra coveting to taste the following pleasures, which is to realize the nature of the greatness of love of Sri Radha, the nature of the wonderful sweetness of his love, of which Radhika has got a taste, the nature of the exquisite joy that accrues to Sri Radha by her realization of the sweetness of his love, took his birth like the moon in the ocean of the womb of Sri Shachi Devi. The esoteric nature of Sri Jiva Goswami Prabhu is herein made manifest. In the Veda, it is also said, let me tell you the mystery. In Navadvip, the identical realm of Goloka on the bank of the river Ganges, Gaurachandra, who is Govinda, the entirety of pure cognition, has two hands, who is the soul of the souls, who has the supreme great personality as the great meditative sannyasin, who is beyond the threefold mundane attributes, makes the process of pure alloyed devotion manifest in the mundane world. He is the soul Godhead. He is the source of all forms. The supreme soul is Godhead manifesting himself in yellow, red, blue, and white colors. He is the direct entity of pure cognition of full spiritual chit potency. He is the figure of the devotee. He is the bestower of devotion and cognizable by devotion alone. The self-same Gaurachandar, who is no other than Krishna himself, in order to taste the rasa pastimes of Radhika and Krishna and Goloka, is manifest in the eternal realm of Navadvip, identical with Goloka. This is also clear from the Vedic declarations. Asan varnastraya Krishna varnam tvisha Krishnam yatha pashyati rukma varnam mahan prabhur vai, and various other statements of the theistic scriptures such as Sri Krishna, just as Sri Krishna had birth in the mundane Gokul through the agency of Yoga Maya, who's the primal energy of the Supreme Lord. So with her help, he manifests the Leela in his birth in the womb of Shachi Devi, Navadvip, in the mundane plane. These are the absolute truths of spiritual science and not the outcome of some imaginary speculation under the thraldom of the deluding energy of Godhead. Wow. This is Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So after we read it 50 times, we'll understand what he's trying to tell us. Yeah, but thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, this is a very, very beautiful description of the Goloka Vrindavan. Like Prabhuji mentioned, whatever we saw in the chart and all the details that we saw in the chart and their locations, how they are situated, everything is mentioned in this particular purport. Well, sometime back when I screened that picture also, you would have seen in these petals, you had the Ashtasakis and then the Manjaris and then all the devotees in different rasas. Then you have the Chaturvyuha, then you have the four Vedas, Sama, Rik, Sama, Yajur, Atharva Veda, the four Purusharthas. There were manis in all directions and then the Shulas pointing in different directions, kicking out undeserved people from entering and so on. And there is the Shatkona Yantra, which is actually the Goloka Yantra, inside which Goloka Vrindavan is encapsulated in the spiritual world. Thank you. Yeah. You wanted to add anything, Prabhuji? Sorry, I just kept reading. You want to say?
Mataji, very nice. I'm sorry. May I go ahead, Mapa? Or someone else wants to speak?
Both of you can go ahead.
No, please go ahead, Prabhu. I didn't want to.
I just wanted to share this little kind of, summarization of all this thing is given by Srila Prabhupada in 36th sloka of Brahma Samhita, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. He has given that, in the second paragraph there, if you want to pull up that's in 36th slok, which is Yad Bhav Bhavita Yomrudasate Samprapi Rupmai Vasamyan. That's gives very nice, short kind of description here, which says, the devotees surcharged with the ideas of their representative service serve Krishna eternally and ultimately reach the goal of their respective ideals. So they attain the real nature of their self befitting their respective rasas, their glories, conveyances, seats, befitting their sacred services, and transcendental quantities of the ornaments, enhancing the beauty of it. And then he says, those who are advocates of Santres, they attain the region of Brahma Paramatma, the seat of eternal peace. Those of Dasyaras get to the Vaikunth, the spiritual majestic abode of Srinarayan. And those of Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya, they attain Golok Dham, Krishna's abode above Vaikuntha. So this was, and that's where we can categorize ourselves and our our bhava, which will take us to where. So in
Correct.
our parampara, usually we emphasize so much on Madhuri Bhav, right? Not Aishwarya. Madhuri versus
Right.
Aishwarya. So that was very important. And I really like that summarization of Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhu, because it kind of diagnoses our own position. So those three rasas can take us to Bhagavan Shri Krishna in Golok. That's what I
Very
understand,
well.
Mata. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you for adding, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Very well. Yes, Narahari Prabhu, you also wanted to say something.
No, Mata, please. Thank you. I just wanted to point out to that one verse, but thank you for reading the purport. It was ecstatic.
If I'm going overboard, but I thought it's a good exercise because otherwise we will not read Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's purport. So I just thought it would be a good thing to finish reading it. Yeah. Thank
What
you.
is the
Thank you for
reference for that, Mataji? This purport that you read?
Brahma
Mataji?
Samhita.
Brahma Samhita. Brahma Samhita, what is the text?
5.
Number? Mataji?
5.
Oh, thank you, Mataji.
Yeah. So basically, we have only the 5th chapter of the Brahma Samhita that was written by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he went to the Tiruvattar temple. And we have only the 5th chapter, of which the 5th verse is this one. Description of the Golokadam. Okay.
Thank you, Mataji. That's wonderful, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you. So we went to Brahma Samhita. Before that, we were here. Okay. Anyway, what were we talking about? Yeah, we were talking about the mantra, and then we were also talking about how these mantras, it is not about some fruitive transactions. Rather, they help with progressive devotional service unto the point of attaining prema. And then we also spoke about the exact positions of Vasudeva, Sankarsana, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, who are there as the first Chaturvyuha around the Sri Krishna. Okay, very nice. Okay, next. Iti Murti Abhidhanina Mantra. Oh, we finished Mantra Murti Mamurtikam.
Mataji,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah.
Mataji, one quick question I had. So if you go back to the same this verse, right, 38, right, we have in the first 2 lines it mentioned that our present senses are material senses, right, material elements, right, and also Prabhupada ji mentioned about spiritual senses, Mataji, in the second para, right. I'm just trying to relate both these material senses and spiritual senses. What does this mean, spiritual senses here, Mataji?
Spiritual senses will be awakened by the mercy of Srimati Radharani as we practice chanting the mantra. How it is awakened is a spiritual science. So as we are chanting, initially our blunt senses are active. But then the transcendental sound is so potent that you can imagine, just for our imagination's sake, every mundane blunt sense has a spiritual sense beneath it. That spiritual sense is dormant. It will be awakened by the mercy of Srimati Radharani when she thinks we are ready. And when it is awakened, then you can really see Krishna through chanting the mantra. Yeah. It's a beautiful process. Yeah.
Right, Mataji, the spiritual senses is something related to the soul, like soul has again separate spiritual senses, something like that it is.
Yeah, the soul is Sachit Ananda. The soul experiences through spiritual senses happiness. The soul experiences spiritual happiness through spiritual senses, if that is helpful. Yeah, but first we start using our blind senses in the service of Krishna. We start dovetailing our senses. That's the first step. That's what Narada Muni just explained in the previous section. You start with that. As you keep doing it, eventually you will not know how, but then it will happen that the spiritual senses are awakened And then you're able to experience that spiritual substance who is Sri Krishna. Because with our blunt senses, it is very difficult to understand Krishna. But how do we start? Because our senses are still blunt. So that's why he first spoke about the process of dovetailing. Do karma yoga and add Krishna. That's what he said, right? In the previous few verses. Then when you keep doing that and then you start chanting this mantra, eventually your spiritual senses are awakened.
When you are
Radharani will see our sincerity and she will awaken it. Or the mantra itself is very potent, Prabhu. The mantra will slowly awaken the spiritual senses. Okay?
when the spiritual
See,
senses are
here
active,
Prabhupada,
you
Prabhupada
can
is
see the
also telling
Lord.
here. Yeah. The transcendental form of the eternal bliss and knowledge can be experienced by our original spiritual senses, which is revived, meaning it's sleeping. Okay. So it is revived by chanting the holy mantras or transcendental sound representations. Such sound should be received from the transparent agency of the bona fide spiritual master. And then when we chant according to the direction of the spiritual master, slowly with our pure chanting, we will get nearer to the Lord. Yeah, and this is a recommended process. Pancharatrika system recommends this. That's why we get all this mantra diksha and all that, right? Because it's a bona fide process.
So when spiritual
Yes.
senses are active, then we can see the Lord. That's what it means, right?
Yeah, we can sense the Lord, we can see the Lord, we can smell the Lord, we can touch the Lord, we can do everything. Yeah. Narada Muni will have that experience. In the next chapter, he'll tell everything, how he saw the Lord, how the Lord was looking, how he felt the Lord. Yeah. He can smell the Lord, everything. We are very far away. Yeah, we can pray and continue to chant. That's what we can do for now.
We should hear, Mataji. First, we have to hear, right? So that is what we're hearing. That is the important thing.
Correct. You're very true. You have to hear. My ear is going everywhere else except the mantra.
Mataji, may I add here little? You said. I
Yes,
said,
yes.
Atah Shri Krishna Namadi na bhavet grahyam indriye.
Yes,
Seven
even
mukhe jivat.
No?
The tongue has two functions: taste Krishna
Yes.
Prasadam and chant Haribol. These two processes, Swayam Sprutya, that the spiritual senses will be awakened or revived, as Prabhupada Maharaj says, by this simple process using the tongue. Because all the material senses are very blunt, they cannot perceive spirituality. But with this process, simple process, in parampara, of course, as you say, then we'll be able to at least have some glimpse of that. That's what I feel, Mata.
Hari, Hari. Very nice. Nice
No, Prabhu,
completion.
my question is like now, how do you experience the spiritual senses are got activated, right? So only when you see the
You
form
will
of the
know.
okay,
Yeah, when you see the form, when you experience the Lord, you will know. Yeah.
okay, Mataji.
Swayam Sprutyad.
Mm.
He from inside he will make you understand. I am
Yes.
not saying that I did that, but this is what the Shastra says, that Swayam Sprutyad, that the purification of the Prabhupada gives this example that I am wearing this kurta. The kurta is made of the cloth, which is Panch Mahabhut. Right? Why there is this kurta, the sleeve of the kurta? Because I have a hand. Right? Because I have a hand, the tailor has made the kurta with the sleeve. Similarly, the material nature has made these blunt senses because the spiritual soul has hand. It's got eyes, everything it has. And these are all imposed on top of that. But they are all
Very good.
beyond the spiritual perception. That's why we cannot perceive, and that's why that slok says, Ata Sri Krishna Damadin Bhavet Krayamindra. So when we become pure ourselves by practicing bhakti, like pure bhakti, then it will swayam spruti. Bhagavan Krishna will respond from inside. This is what I feel, Mata. So sorry to take so much
So
time.
nice, so beautiful. And that kurta example is so appropriate. Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah.
And that's the reason when we go to Goloka, our blunt senses are always here, and with the soul, which the spiritual senses only go to the Goloka, right? We're getting washed in the river, right? In the
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, you cast away your gross and the subtle bodies as you cross the Viraja River.
yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Mataji, has this got some reference to that you were talking about the last sense that leaves? I was not very clear about it, Mataji.
I said the hearing sense is something that leaves last because
That
That
has
is an
connection with this, right, Mother? The now what we are talking, because that is the
Yeah,
last.
because it is very important to hear. That's what Prabhupada is telling. Hearing becomes extremely important because of that sound vibration alone, everything else is revived. That sound vibration, chanting is a sound vibration. The Naam is a sound vibration. So that sound vibration helps to awaken the spiritual senses. That's why the vibrations hearing is.
So that's why we chant holy names when somebody leaves the body, because they can't talk, they can't do anything, but still they can hear the holy names.
You can hear, yes. Even a person in coma
We say
also can
Narayana generally. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, yes, Mataji, that's right. Yeah, that's why that is the big best recommendation is to keep chanting so that they hear the holy names. Yeah, thank you. Okay, last two verses. Personal experience of Narada Muni. So because of this, what did Narada Muni attain because of chanting the mantra? He's going to tell us. Imam swanigamam brahman avedyamaddanushtitam adan me jnanamaishwaryam swasmin bhavam cha keshava. Translation, someone wants to read?
Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. O Brahmana, thus by the Supreme Lord Krishna, I was endowed first with the transcendental knowledge of the Lord as inculcated in the confidential parts of the Vedas, then with the spiritual opulences, and then with his intimate loving service. Hare Krishna.
So, because Narada Muni was executing the instructions of the Lord perfectly, Krishna bestowed upon him three things. First, he gave jnanam, which is transcendental knowledge about the Lord. Second, he also gave him aishwaryam, that is opulences. Now, opulence is not ordinary opulences, these are spiritual opulences, like different siddhis actually. And that is the explanation given by Chakravarti Pad and also Srila Prabhupada. Both of them explain spiritual opulences as they begin to attain different siddhis, but the devotee never uses those siddhis. First, the devotee develops jnana on account of practice of chanting the mantra associated with Krishna. A person develops jnana. What kind of jnana? Jnana of Krishna, transcendental knowledge about the Lord. Next, this devotee, as he is advancing, he starts acquiring various siddhis, but he doesn't use those siddhis. You will never see a Vaishnava guru or a Vaishnava sannyasi or a Vaishnava devotee, advanced devotee, though they might be capable of doing many things, many miraculous things. They have many siddhis, but they will never display it. Unlike the other impersonalist sannyasis or impersonalist sadhakas who will flaunt their siddhis. Okay, so we have first step is attaining transcendental knowledge about Krishna and their relationship with Krishna. Second, he starts getting various spiritual opulences, which also include siddhis, according to both Prabhupada and Chakravarti Pad. And finally, he also is bestowed with loving service, and this is the most important. This is the most important. This bhavam, intimate affection, this is the crux. Okay, so what is the ultimate benefit or what is the ultimate goal of this chanting and everything? To develop that intimate affection with the Supreme Lord. The focus is neither jnanam nor is it siddhis. Both are not our goal. Our goal is intimate affection. But then we also get byproducts. Sometimes Krishna likes to give a lot of byproducts. But a true devotee is only interested in bhavam. He's only interested in love. He's not interested in these byproducts. Okay. So he says, thus, by the mercy of Supreme Lord Krishna, I was endowed with transcendental knowledge, with spiritual opulences, as well as intimate loving services. So he got everything. And Prabhupada is telling that communion with the Lord by transmission of the transcendental sound is non-different from the whole spirit of Lord Sri Krishna, which means he's telling sound vibration is non-different from Krishna himself. Okay, and it is the best method to approach the Lord. So that way you can, though we have our blunt senses, this karmendriyas and jnanendriyas numbering 10, material conceptions numbering 10, a devotee can rise beyond this material plane and he can understand who Krishna is just through the sound vibration, because the sound vibration is not different from Krishna. And all this is possible only if we are taking shelter of a spiritual master. If we have faith in the spiritual master and we take the mantra very submissively, then we can actually tap into the effects of chanting the mantra. And of course, Prabhupada says, yes, as you're chanting, you might be endowed with mystic opulences, which are 8 in number, Ashtamaha Siddhis, Anima, Lagima, Garima, Mahima, all of that. You will get all of that. Yes, you will also understand specific knowledge about the Supreme Lord. You will even get that also. But then most important of perfecting the chanting process is that you will understand Sri Krishna himself, and a pure devotee is only interested in serving the Lord. He is not interested in exhibiting all these powers that are dormant in him. So that is the power of the sound vibration. And Prabhupada is telling there is no bar for chanting the sound vibration by anybody. Everybody can chant Nam. Even, Nam, there's no rule, regulation, nothing. You can hear the Maha Mantra, you can write it in a piece of paper and chant. It has the same potency. It's not different from the Lord. So like this, Narada, he received a mantra, of course, but he also received it in Guru Parampara, and proper disciplic succession, and he handed it down in Guru Parampara. So such mantras are very, very important. Okay. So he's received everything. Now Narada Muni said, I received all the byproducts, but I also received love of God. So now he gives us conclusion. What is his conclusion? What is he telling Vyasadeva? He is encouraging Vyasadeva. Now you have to describe the Lord's glories. He's going back to the original instruction. He gave his own personal example and he's telling, don't forget, this is your duty. You have to describe the Lord's glories. When you describe the Lord's glories, there are two benefits. One is you will, the learned men, that is people who are already learned, they always have hankerings. They want to know more about Krishna. They want to advance in Krishna consciousness. So the hankerings of the learned men will be satisfied. Second is that there are common people who are ignorant and they are always in misery. Their ignorance will also be mitigated. See, when you read Srimad Bhagavatam, it is very nourishing for the devotees, right? Devotees hear Bhagavatam every day. We are already in the path. It's very nourishing. It is nourishing our Krishna consciousness. It is also bringing common people who might not be aware of the value of Bhagavatam into Krishna consciousness, right? So it is twofold. It is benefiting two sections of people. Broadly, it is benefiting two sections of people. So the translation is, he tells Narada, he tells Vyasa, please therefore describe the Almighty Lord's activities, which you have learned by your vast knowledge of the Vedas, for that will satisfy the hankerings of great learned men. It will satisfy their hankerings. At the same time, it will mitigate the miseries of the masses of common people who are always suffering from material pangs. Indeed, there is no other way to get out of such miseries. So only Srimad Bhagavatam is the solution. There is no other means. So in the purport, Prabhupada, he talks about who are these people, who are these learned men who are hankering for more knowledge about the Lord, and who are these common people who are suffering. I think everybody knows these two verses. Who are the four types of pious people who come to Krishna consciousness?
One is distress, knowledge,
Oh,
who wants to
yes.
knowledge, acquire the knowledge, acquire the wealth, and
Yeah.
inquisitive.
And inquisitors. Very nice. Yes. Artho Artharthi Jignasu Jnani. So these are the four kinds of people. Very nice. Prabhupada mentions all of them. So there are four kinds of good men. When they are in difficulty, Artha means one who's distressed, need of money, Artharthi. Artha, for example, Gajendra, he was in distress. Artharthi, for example, Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj wanted a kingdom greater than his great-grandfather. then when they are advanced in knowledge and inquisitive to know more about God. Inquisitive, Jignasu is the sages of Naimisharanya, who are being addressed at this point. And also Jnani, who's very advanced in knowledge, like Shukdev Goswami, who's the speaker of Bhagavatam. So like this, all of them, they want to know more about the Lord. So all these people who are hankering after this will be satisfied. Okay. So now who are the other set of people who are always dushkritina? What is that verse? Anybody knows? Namam dushkritina moda.
Prakatyanti.
Naradhama. Yes,
Maya, Maya
Prakriti.
Jnana, Ashritam Bhavam Ashritam.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So these are the people who are addicted to the mode of progressive fruitive work. Obviously, the more fruitive work you do, the more miseries. Those who are simply addicted to vicious work for sense satisfaction, they have to suffer consequences. Those who are materially advanced in knowledge but suffer because they don't have the sense of knowledge, the authority of the Almighty Lord. These are the Maya Aparita Jnana. And the class of men who are known as atheists. So like this, there are 4 kinds of people. They are not very favorable to Krishna consciousness and they are always in difficulty. Even they will get benefited from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So Narada is advising Vyasadeva to describe the glories of the Lord so that all the 8 classes of men, the Sukritina and the Dushkritina, all of them are ultimately benefited. So Bhagavatam is not for a particular sect or a class or a religion or something. It is for anyone. It is for the welfare of this entire world. So that ends this chapter. Thus ends the Bhakti Vedanta purport of the first canto, 5th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Narada's Instructions on Srimad Bhagavatam to Vyasadeva. So now what we will do? We will get a summary of the next chapter. Because the next chapter is also a continuation on the same lines. It is Narada's life continued. But before that, Narahari Prabhu, you have a question.
Mataji, sorry, I couldn't hear the first example for devotee who is in difficulty, who takes shelter. What is it?
Gajendra.
Gajendra, okay.
Artharthi is Dhruva.
Dhruva.
Jignasu is sages of Naimisharanya.
Naimisharanya.
And Jnani is Shukadev Goswami.
Shukadev, yeah. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you.
Hari. Okay, so now what we'll do? We'll do the overview of the next chapter. Let's see what's coming in the next chapter. Quick overview. If we have time, we can also do 3-4 verses because the verses are very small. Let's see how it goes. This is 1.6. So we saw how Narada Muni gave all this advice to Vyasadeva. He told him to write the Bhagavatam, emphasize more on the glories of the Lord. And then he also taught his personal mantra. So now Vyasadeva, he heard about Narada Muni's birth and activities. He heard that how Narada Muni was fortunate enough to get the association of the Bhakti Vedantas and his life transformed. He saw a real life experience. Right. So now he wanted to know, it's natural, if someone is telling us their life story, we want to know more. Okay, then what happened? Right. That is what we want to know. So similarly, Vyasdev also said, okay, you said you got mantra, but then what did you do after that? You got their association, you took remnants, you got mantra, but then what next? How did you perfect your life? So Vyasadeva inquires, what did you do after the Bhakti Vedantas who instructed you departed? How did you pass your life after initiation? And I'm very curious, how did you get this body of Narada? Because he was born as the son of a maidservant, right? How did he acquire this transcendental body of Narada Muni? He says time destroys everything. But how is it that you remember what happened in the previous kalpa? Because the next day of Brahma, when Narada Muni told his story also, he said, in the previous millennium, that's how he started his story, right? So Vyasa is telling time destroys everything, time destroys memory, time destroys everything. But how is it that you remember so much about your previous life? So tell me everything. Then Narada, he continues to tell his story, what happened in his life after that. So he said, these sages, they imparted some transcendental knowledge unto me, and then eventually they moved from that place because Chaturmas they were spending there and they moved. So like that, I was spending my time and my life like that way. And moreover, I was the only son of my mother. And she was a very simple maid servant. And she was very affectionate to me, and I was very attached to her. And she was also not a very independent lady, and she couldn't maintain me properly as she wanted to, because everybody is like a wooden doll in the hands of their master, right? The Lord is the master. All of us are like little wooden dolls. So that was her condition too. And I was a 5-year-old child, and I didn't have so much experience of various lands. One day, when my mother went to milk a cow, at that time she was bitten by a serpent, and she died. And my only associate or my only relation in this world was my mother. And now, when I was a young child, when I was 5 years old, my mother died. I had no one to take care of me. But then Narada says, I took this as the special mercy of the Lord, who always desires benedictions for his devotees. And so thinking, I started forth to the north. Now, this is something very, very advanced, very high. This is actually a big story. Bhagavatam has so many examples of great personalities who have had multiple reversals, very severe reversals, and every devotee has a story to tell. And there are so many lessons we can learn from all these devotees in Srimad Bhagavatam. So each person reacts differently. For example, we have the story of Kritadyuti, who was the wife of Chitraketu Maharaj, right? So when her child died, when he was a small baby, he was poisoned by the co-wives and died. At that time, she was blaming the controller. She was blaming Lord, and she's saying there's no God, etc. There are others who are, everybody's reaction is different. There is the story of Shravan Kumar, his parents, when Dashrath Maharaj, he had shot an arrow at Shravan Kumar's Shravan Kumar, and Shravan Kumar died. His parents cursed because they Putra Shoka, right? So they cursed Dashrath Maharaj. Everybody's life is different. Everybody's reaction is different. But whereas we have devotees like Kunti Maharani, who said, "Give me more. So much suffering is not enough. I need more suffering because that way at least I can think more about you." There is Draupadi who forgave. She forgave the offender who was Ashwathama. Like that, again, we have Srivas Pandit, whose son he died suddenly because he contracted a disease, and Mahaprabhu was doing kirtan, and Srivas Pandit considered it as a great mercy. He was thinking, oh, how fortunate the child has died when Mahaprabhu has been doing kirtan. So like that, everybody's reaction is different. And here is a very interesting reaction of this 5-year-old boy, Narada. He's thinking that this is the special mercy of the Lord. Now, who will think like that? Definitely not me. But here we have his mother, the only shelter for him in the universe, has died. And he's thinking this is the causeless mercy of the Lord. Because the Lord never thinks bad for his devotee. The Lord will never think that my devotee should suffer. He'll never think like that. He always desires. See how the words are. We can read the Sanskrit later when we go verse by verse. But it says, the Lord who always desires benedictions for his devotees, and so thinking, I started for the north. I understood it to be the special mercy of the Lord who desires benedictions for his devotees. So that kind of maturity was there in Narada, and he started forth to the north. That's why the note is confidential devotees see the Lord's benediction in every step. In whatever step they are, they see whether it is a reversal or happy situation, whatever it is the mercy of the Lord. So anyway, so then Narada, he passes through, as he travels north, he passes through different towns, villages, animal farms, mine, agricultural valleys, and so many different places. And he was very tired. Obviously, he's a small boy. He was very tired as he was passing through different places. He was wandering around just meditating on the mantra, meditating on the Lord as it was taught by these Bhakti Vedantas. But he didn't have any shelter, or he didn't know who's going to give me food the next day, who's going to take care of me, nothing. He was just wandering like a little sannyasi, like a baby sannyasi. He was going, and he was tired physically and mentally. He says, I took bath and drank water in a river, and that way I used to just get relief from my exhaustion. Sometimes I would sleep under a banyan tree, but I always meditated on the super soul using my intelligence because I heard from the sages. The sages taught me the mantra. I heard from them. So I used my intelligence, and from time to time, whenever I would sit down, I would meditate on the mantra and meditate on the super soul. So he says, as I meditated upon the Lord's lotus feet with transcendental love, tears rolled from my eyes due to longing, and gradually Lord Krishna appeared in the lotus of my heart. So the meditative process was also taught by these Bhaktivedantas. And as he perfected his meditation, he saw the Lord in the lotus of his heart. ध्यायतस् चरणाम्भोजं भावनिर्जितचेष्टसा अनुकण्ठस्य अश्रु कलाकषया hridi asin me shanai harihi. So he was able to see Hari in the lotus of his heart. So he became very happy because imagine he's getting darshanam. Remember, I told you two more there are two more parts, right? Darshanam and Krishna, experience of Krishna. What is that? 14 stages. Anyone remembers?
Madhurya
Darshan. Madhurya Anubhavam. Harer Madhurya Anubhavam. Yes. Harer experience of Sri Krishna. So that's what is happening. He sees the Lord, he gets darshanam. And then exceedingly he was overpowered with happiness. Every part of his body became enlivened, and he was absorbed in an ocean of ecstasy. And he so much so that he could not even see the Lord. I mean, his eyes were so choked up. And upon losing the form, he experienced the presence of the Lord, Harer Madhurya Anubhavam. And immediately the Lord vanished. He had a short experience of the Lord, and the Lord vanished. So now that the Lord's form vanished from his vision, he became very perturbed. He thought Krishna's form vanquishes all lamentation, but now that form is vanished, it's not there. So he was very perturbed, and he was trying very hard. Okay, let me go back to meditation. Let me bring back the form of the Lord in my mind. But he tried again and again, but he could not see the Lord. He just couldn't see the Lord. And of course, there is a note by our acharyas who say that just by some mechanical process, you cannot bring back the vision of the Lord. How was Dhruva, not Dhruva, this is a picture of Dhruva, but it's actually Narada. You should imagine this to be Narada. How was Narada able to see the Lord? It is not that just because he performed that process of meditation, he saw the Lord. It is because the Lord desired to reveal himself to Narada Muni. That's why Narada Muni saw the Lord, right? So now, if the Lord is not desiring to reveal himself, whatever mechanical process you may do, you will not see the Lord. That is a lesson that we learn from this process. Because Narada Muni was trying again and again, I want to see the Lord, but the Lord did not show himself to him. Seeing my attempts, the Lord, who is inexpressible by words, Agocharo Giram, spoke to me with gravity and pleasing words to mitigate my grief. So as he was lamenting like this, the Lord just spoke. He didn't give his darshan again, but he heard a voice. What did the Lord say? With a very gambhira voice, with a grave voice, he said, you will not see me again in this lifetime. Those who are incomplete in service, immature, and not free from material taints cannot see me. So again here, very nicely, we will go through this in detail. Actually, the point here is that Narada Muni was on the stage of prema. Okay, but then his prema was not a mature prema. It was a very, what do you say, very child, very young prema, okay, very, very young. But it had to become a little more mature, that prema. So in a sadhaka's body, this is the commentary given, that in a sadhaka's body, a person who has attained prema, he cannot attain a mature state of prema. He will attain only a fledgling, like, very small, young, like, what do you say, Kaumara prema, like that, like a very young prema. And that frame, with that frame, you can see the Lord only once, and the Lord will vanish. You cannot see him again and again. But then, when you advance and you go to a Siddha Deha, that is when you can have continuous vision of the Lord. That prema is more mature. That's why it's called immature here. It's not a harsh word spoken by the Lord. The Lord is giving some details about love of God. Okay, so his prema was not fully blossomed, and it is not easy to blossom in a sadhaka deha. It is blossomed only in a siddha deha. So he says, your prema is immature, so you cannot see me. Now Narada might have asked, but you show yourself once again to me. It's okay, just once more you have to show yourself to me. So then the Lord says, I see, I showed you once so that you can increase your desire for me. You can have more desire. Once you see that form, obviously, once you see something beautiful, you want to see it again and again, right? So like that, your hankering for me will be more and more. Of course, Narada didn't have any material desires. He was already on the level of prema. But by saying so, the Lord increases his humility. The Lord says, yeah, you still have material taints. All that will be only after you remove all that you can see me continuously. Actually, Narada didn't have material taints, but still the Lord wanted to increase his humility. Humility is so important. Actually, this is a very good lesson. Without intense humility, you cannot have sustained Krishna consciousness. Especially if we want to see the Lord, our humility should increase and increase and increase so much. The Lord will test us. I mean, it's not like he's trying to be mean with us, but you will be put into multiple conditions in a way that your humility is deeply rooted. Only when it is deeply rooted, you can really see the Lord. So the Lord wanted to increase his humility. So he said, once you're free from contamination, then you can see. Actually, he was free from contamination. That is what our acharyas are telling us in the purports. But the Lord wanted to increase his humility as well as increase his hankering. And of course, material service has satiation, but the spiritual service of the Lord, there is no satiation or no end. So even Narada Muni, he had no satiation. It's not like he was done. He saw the Lord once and I'm done. Enough. No, he wanted to see the Lord more and more. And the Lord was increasing his hankering. So it's a transcendental competition between the Lord and the devotee. Then of course, the Lord continues to tell him that by service of the absolute truth and the devotees, even for a short time, one becomes firmly fixed. After giving up this world, one becomes my associate. So he says, very soon you will be firmly fixed and you will become my associate. And here also we see that the Lord himself is glorifying devotional service. The Lord tells, even time factor cannot destroy your devotional service. He's telling this to Narada Muni. Remember, Narada told this to Vyasdev. Remember, in the previous chapter also, Narada tells him that time cannot do anything to devotional service. A little done in the path of bhakti goes a long way. The progress in bhakti is credited forever. There is no loss even in fall down. Verse 17, 18, 19. He talks about this. How did Narada Muni talk about it? He talked about it because the Lord told him this. The Lord tells him, even time factor cannot destroy your devotional service. By my mercy, your memory will continue even at the time of creation and annihilation. This was a benediction given by the Lord. So remember, Vyasdev asked him, you told a story from the previous millennium. How did you remember all that? It was because the Lord himself had given a benediction. So the Lord said, your concentration on me will not perish because it is fixed upon me in prema. Because you're in prema, love of God, of course, it's a young prema and it has to blossom more, but still, young prema is only possible in a sadhaka deha. Okay, so yeah, because you're fixed in prema, you will not forget all the bhakti that you have done all this while. And he says, I am eternal, the remembrance of me will also be eternal. So like this, speaking like this, he encourages Narada. Narada bows down in gratitude, having seen the Lord. And then Narada, he continues the Lord's instructions, because the Lord says that you have to continue like this. So he follows the Lord's instructions until death. He chants the holy name. He thinks about the name, form, qualities of the Lord, and he continued to remain humble and non-envious. This is very important, also highly commented. That was the quality that kept him going. Otherwise, again, there would have been issues in his progress. And Narada says, in due course of time, because he was so absorbed in Krishna, he was free from all material attachments, and he also met with death. And he gave up this body that is made up of 5 gross elements, and he received a spiritual body that can be befitting to be an associate of the Lord. Okay. So if now Narada Muni says, now I got a spiritual body that is not made out of Panchabhautika Sharira. He's telling, quitting the body made of 5 elements, I have received a spiritual body befitting an associate of the Lord. Now, Narada, Vyasadeva might ask Narada, but we all hear that you were born from Brahma in the Swayambhuva Manvantara. Then how are you telling your body is spiritual? So Narada says, in the end of the previous kalpa, when the Lord breathed in, at that time, during the universal devastation, I entered his body along with Brahma, and I reappeared from Brahma, but I appeared from his deliberation along with the other sages. So we know 10 rishis are there. Along with the 10 rishis, Narada Muni also appeared. So he says, since then I'm liberated. I appeared from his deliberation. I have a liberated body. I'm a liberated spaceman. And I travel unrestrictedly in both spiritual and material worlds. And my bhakti is always unbroken. So like this, he travels constantly singing Harikatha, playing the veena that was gifted to him by Krishna. And the commentaries say that it is mentioned in the Linga Puran that the veena was gifted by Lord Sri Krishna to Narada Muni, and that's how he got the veena. So anyway, with that veena, he chants and he hears about the Lord. And then Narada, he concludes, he says, Harikatha is the most suitable boat to cross this material ocean, Bhavasindhu Plavo. So what is the plava for the Bhavasindhu? It is Harikatha. So he says, and this Harikatha can remove anxieties of everybody, and it can make one very, very blissful. So the soul that is affected by lust and greed is not satisfied by Ashtanga Yoga or any other path. It is only through the process of bhakti. So I have explained my birth and my activities. I have spoken everything to you. So now you write the Bhagavatam in great detail, glorifying the Lord and his pastimes. So having spoken like this, Narada vibrated his veena. He wanders off at free will. All glories to Narada Muni, who glorifies the Lord while taking pleasure in himself, as well as enlivening all the distressed souls like us. So with that, this chapter ends, and we'll start the chapter. We will restart the chapter on Thursday. Okay, so Thursday we'll start with verse number 1 of chapter number 6. Let's see if you have any questions. Is Kirtida there? She's
Magati,
not there.
Magati is the name of the veena, right, Mataji?
Huh? Mathangi, yeah.
The name of the veena is Magati. Is it correct, Mataji?
I thought it was Mathanga, right? Mathangi. I don't remember now. Maybe Mathangi.
Mathangi.
I think so. Again, it's from some old memory I'm saying, not something I recently read. Let's check though. I thought it was Mathangi, right?
Magati. I don't know, Mataji. Maybe in different languages they name it differently.
Oh no. I don't know, Mataji.
Thank you,
It's a
Mataji.
good
No, we'll check. I
question.
will also check later. Yes.
Yeah. What did you say, Mataji?
Magati is the name.
Mahati. Oh, yeah, you're right. Mahati, not Matangi. You're right.
Yes.
Mahati. Yes.
Magati.
Mahati. Yes.
Magati.
Correct. Correct. It's Mahati. You're right. Yeah. Okay. Then Narhari Prabhu.
Mataji, just a quick question. I'm sure you will explain this in a lot more detail, but it was also a bit, I'd say, disappointing. Meaning, I felt a bit, I don't know how to put it, but it's a tough process, right? It's not easy. It takes sometimes many lifetimes. But when you are explaining that with the sadhaka deha, it is impossible to develop the full prema. So does it mean like as sadhakas, we will not be able to fully develop the love that we want to aspire for in this lifetime?
You will develop prema, Prabhu. That itself is a big deal. Prema, whether it is in a what is that young form or it is in a mature form, you have developed prema, right? That much itself is a big achievement. Why are we so worried? To develop that, to come to the point of prema is a big deal. To come to the point of bhav is a big deal, Prabhu. Just bhava is a big deal. And then in this life, we can get prema. That's a big thing. And that too, that prema is enough, actually. I mean, that is itself so fulfilling. Or you get to see the Lord face to face. What more do you want in that prema bhakti? And of course, you'll quit your body, and in that siddhadeha, you will get continuous darshan of the Lord and continuous association of the Lord. In sadhaka deha, whatever is possible, we are getting, right? We are getting a glimpse. I mean, not glimpse, it is actually the first part of prema, the initial prema. There is a nice word that is used in Sarartha Darshini to explain this in English. Let me see if I can pull that up. I like that word so much about describing that prema, right? Uh, I hope I'm not sharing screen because I'm going to open up my WhatsApp because I put that in WhatsApp and I wanted to read it again and again. Let me tell you what Chakravarti Pad says. He says, the Lord told Narada, my rule is that I show myself only one time to a person practicing in his present body, in a sadhaka deha who has developed prema. The infant state, it is infant, it's not coma. It is infant state of prema in the sadhaka's body matures to a youthful state in the Siddha Deha by an increase of prema arising from longing and separation. That youthful prema allows the devotee to see me constantly and serve me directly. Nice, right?
Thank you,
You're not happy? I thought this is
yes, I am definitely like, I think, maybe I just don't have proper gratitude that what I'm getting is something very valuable. I guess just a little bit
maybe
greedy
when
for-
we experience it, we will have gratitude. Maybe now it's only theory, right?
Yeah, yes, Mataji. Absolutely.
Mataji,
Thank
may I add little sharing here? Bhagavatam assures all of us, Yan astha idaro rajan na pramadit karye chit. Nimilya netreva dhavan na kale na pate diya. This bhakti yogi is such that you are going full throttle on a highway with your eyes closed, but you will not meet an accident, you will not sleep,
Yes.
and you will reach the destination. Such a great solace is given for all sadhakas in Srimad Bhagavatam 11th Canto, Mata. Thank you very much, Haribol.
So true. So true. We are running with eyes closed and still we are saved. Yes. Param Pavani.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Mataji, I have two questions. One is after, as you answering to His Grace Narahari Prabhu, that after achieving the Siddha Deha, the prema will in more and more increase.
Yes.
There is no like a plateau phase. It's always love phase. Prema gonna
Correct.
increase.
Yes. Yes, PhD student, there is no plateau. It's only increasing.
And the question, Mataji, that as you mentioned that hearing is the ability that goes last while leaving the body. Mataji, there was 5 elements, how they come, like ether, from ether to air, air to fire, fire to earth, fire to water, water to earth. Like I forgot that sequence. Does it has any significance in why, like which senses are developing in which way, and which senses are leaving the body in the same sequence? I don't know.
Correct only. Correct. Either holds the element of sound. Sound is an either, right? Either is the first that is found and the last to leave. Correct.
Oh, gotcha. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. Dandavats Pranam.
Very good. Sankari Kaur Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. First of all, please accept my respectful obeisances at your lotus feet. My pranams to all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis here. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Mataji, beautiful class today. I was just reflecting on what we discussed today, and very nice discussion brought about by His Grace Narahari Prabhu. And so I was just thinking that in our material body, the covering that we have, how much can we experience any which way? Everything is so limited. And we are aspiring for something, as you just mentioned, is not limited at all. It's ever increasing, the love for Lord. So in order to get to that point where our love for Lord can also keep increasing all the time, we'll have to come to the Siddha Deha. And this is what we saw with Narad Muni just now, that in his sadhaka deha, he came up to a point, but when he left that body, he became the transcendental space person. So we'll have to do that. We'll have to leave this material covering in order to get to that point where we can get to the lotus feet of the Lord and get to serve Him directly and experience that. But yes, I think my condition is I'm happy with getting any service at this point in time.
Yes. Yes, and well said. Yeah. How much can we hold in this body? I mean, we can't. The kind of experience we can get in prema, to hold that is so difficult in this body, right? Our body is so limited. Yeah.
Thank you, Mataji. This is a wonderful discussion today. And this whole Brahma Samhita purport that you read, I was also thinking, when we were reading Shri Bhakti Vaibhav, over there is one mention that one day Shri Bhakti Saraswati Thakur, it's about 2 a.m. and he just starts walking out of the mud and he's going somewhere. And one of his disciples sees this and he starts following him. Where is Gurudev going at this point in time? And of course, it's difficult to keep up with his pace. But then he says that he goes, and then he finds that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is actually, talking. He's actually giving a class, class per se, to the residents of Shwetadweep. So actually, it's there in the book that actually the residents of Shwetadweep used to come and hear from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami.
Wow.
And so that's what I was thinking. Oh yeah, it's so easy for him to describe all of this because he already comes from that realm. He sees that realm and he associates with the residents of that realm. And I just think, my gosh, how did I come to this parampara then? I mean, this is incredible when we read about the original identities of our acharyas, starting from the 6 Goswamis. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radhakrishna himself and his associates. Then the Goswamis, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, all of them, their real identities, who are they? They have directly come from Goloka. That's the parampara that's what Prabhupada gave to us. That's how he has connected us to this parampara. what a good fortune. I mean, how did I land up here? I have no idea. And so, with that gratitude, I seriously want to pray to all of you, to my Guru Maharaj, to Krishna, to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and associates, that keep that gratitude in me. Keep me reminding of, how Prabhupada says, if a screw is on the street, it's got no value. My Guru Maharaj, His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu says, you can't even sell it on eBay for 2 paise. But when somebody picks it up and puts it in the machine where it belongs, then that's the sarthakta of your life. And that's what I feel, that how our Prabhupada, how our Guru Maharajas have been so merciful on us, that they are trying to put us back in that machine where we've fallen off. So extreme gratitude to all of you, to the parampara, and of course to Srila Prabhupada, who's put us in this parampara where directly the manjaris have come down to tell us, Jeev Jago, get up guys, do something about yourself. Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much.
What a valuable parampara we are in. Yes.
Hare Krishna Mataji, I would like to just add one point about hearing. Can I, Mataji?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, Mataji, myself and Jayalakshmi Mataji, we are here in Mayapur. We have come for a visit here during summer. And we got up at 3:30 in the morning, and then we went to Mangala Aarti. That is for which we came here. So, and then we wanted to be there, but we couldn't stop rushing back to Ishodhyan because we want to hear Bhagavatam. See, when you see even the Lord right in front of us, in front of Panchtatra, I'm seeing, we were enjoying, we were seeing Radha Madhav, but hearing Bhagavatam attracted us back very quickly to the Lord, because we wanted to be in this program and hear Bhagavatam, and then again we can go back at 7 o'clock to see. That is the mesmerizing effect that you have given us. So we are very, very thankful to you.
Bhagavatam, it's like that. Yes.
Yes, no, Mataji, it is there, but the effect is given by people like you who are, otherwise, we wouldn't, anybody, see, we are coming here for 4 or 5 days only. We would always like to be in Mangalarti and take the mercy there only. But we just saw to that, we just started back at 4:45. You had to pull ours. It was a huge crowd. That's a huge energy field. It was very difficult to pull out and then come out and then come rushing back to hear Bhagavatam. That is the kind of energy you have provided us. Kritika Mataji, the whole system is so good. We thank you very much.
All glories to your services, Mataji. That dedication. Yes.
Thank you, Mataji. We prayed for all of us that we should get the maximum mercy from Bhagavatam, and then then only we rushed back somehow. Today we didn't get to Toto also to come back quickly, but we literally ran back to the house because here we get the better signals here. So it's that we enjoyed. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Your association is very precious.
Hearing is so good, Mataji. Really, we hear it with that sense. As the Murti, even more than the Murti, hearing is giving such a power to run behind hearing Bhagavatam. Nitya Bhagavata Seva is the best thing we felt today. As soon as we came running, at last we came to the class in time. That kind of feeling we had. When we do it back in Chennai, it is not so, Mataji. When we did it here, we felt it more. That's what I want to share it with you. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Very nice. Potency of the place also matters. Wonderful. Beautiful. Yes. Okay. And Kirtida Mataji is on the call, so I want to tell her, Mataji, you have to start from chapter 6 fresh.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, so we can end here if there are no other questions, and everybody has got such nice realizations to add. And thank you, Padmini Mataji. Hope you have a wonderful retreat.
Mataji, please post this today's class, Mataji. We want to listen again. The recording is on.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank
Definitely.
you. Because today, very valuable inputs were given. We don't have the notebook to note everything, so we want to go back and note it everything. And
sure, Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We can end here. Vancha kalpatarubhescha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
All glories to our dear mothers.
Hare
Lasini and Madhuri. Jai.
All glories to everybody on the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.